Welcome to MMA on the Rocks. My name is Bill Welker. You are listening to episode 218 of the podcast, or you're joining us live on Facebook or YouTube. Today is Sunday, November 22nd. We are coming off of UFC 255, headlined by a pair of flyweight title fights. Before we get into any of that, let me welcome, all the way from New Jersey, he's focused on his fitness, folks, Jeff, the Animal Wilson. Jeff, how you feeling on this Sunday afternoon, my friend?
Bill, I feel awesome. But right now, I'm fitness Cam Newton led Patriots game onto my phone here while watching the show. I got the sound turned off, Bill. But
Is Cam Newton on the Patriots? I didn't even know this.
yeah, dude, he's who they got to replace Tom Brady, which, Bill, I'm really excited for. I think Cam Newton is a very talented quarterback. He's also not afraid to get his hands dirty. He'll run the ball. He'll eat some tackles. I was hoping we'd get Deshaun Watson from the Texans because currently the Texans are beating the Patriots. And I think, but I'm still a fan of Cam Newton. I'm glad he's on the team. But, I think we'd be having a better season with Tom Brady. But, it's a rebuilding process, and Bill Belichick doesn't realize how much Tom Brady put into the team. So, but anyway, Bill.
My buddy John disagrees. He says Newton sucks. Damn this game.
It's a rebuilding process. You got to give him like a season and a half. But anyway, Bill, enough about football. That's not what we're here to talk about. Bill, what's going on? Give me a status report on this felled tree that you had in the backyard.
Oh, man. So the neighbor's insurance got it off of her house, luckily. Nobody was hurt. But now I have this stump that's like sideways in the ground. I got to figure a way to get it out of there. So I don't know. I got to rent a stump grinder or like, I don't know. I was thinking like maybe like tie a rope around it and then tie the other end around my wife and then insult her and then run and see if she could just pull it out of the ground and down the street. I don't know. I have a few ideas, but yeah, I got to work on that. I had we went out on Friday night, Jeff. Got a babysitter, did a little date night, and of course it was somebody that we were familiar with. It was my daughter's old nanny from when she was born. So having people else in this stage. So we went out, did the date night, and I had a wake up call, Jeff, about my age. And just the point where I am in my life, because we went. So first of all, they were doing like a little pub crawl in town, so you stop at different bars and things. And the first stop was my wife's yoga studio. Shout out to them, Blend Sweat Social, State Harbor, Florida. Awesome yoga studio. I attend yoga classes there 1 to 2 times a week. Awesome place, awesome people. So we stopped there, had a few drinks, and then grabbed some dinner, and then continued on down Main Street, hit another bar, and I ran into a buddy of mine from the gym who's only like a few years younger than me, maybe 4 years younger than me, 4 or 5. So wife and I are having a drink at the bar, and I see she spots him first. So I sent a White Claw to his table, and the bartender was like, "Oh, the girl over there with the hat, you want me to bring it to her?" I said, No, send it to the guy. So, and tell him it's from an admirer. So she brings over the White Claw, and I'm sitting at the bar, but there's like, so he couldn't see me. He had to physically get up and walk over to see who sent him a White Claw. In any case, they and have drinks after this. So we went with them. And they were like, "Let's do shots." And I was thinking, now I'm not like a big shots guy, Jeff. I just that's not because of my age. It's just Never have been. It's not really my thing. I like to enjoy my booze and sip on them. But all right, whatever. It sounds like fun. So we did a shot. It's like 10 p.m. Jeff. Wife and I are like falling asleep at the bar, and this other couple, my buddy's girlfriend, goes, "Oh, we're gonna go find a cigar bar and have a cigar, and then we're gonna go out dancing." And Claudia's like, "Tonight?"
Oh man, that's awesome.
And I don't know if it's funnier that she said it or that I was thinking the same thing, because I was like, like, oh man, I was like, it's getting late. And the other thing too is when you have a babysitter, like after a certain hour, the kid's asleep, obviously, so you're just paying somebody to watch Netflix in your house. So it gets a little weird. Anyway, that was the wake up call I had about how I'm getting on in years, Jeff. And that may change. Like when Ariane is a little older, I'll feel more comfortable like staying out later. But I mean, I realize for the most part, I don't stay out that late anymore. We got home. We tried to watch a movie and didn't even make it through that. We were watching the original Friday the 13th. I forgot Kevin Bacon was in that, but good movie.
Wow.
Yeah, I think it was.
Bill.
Huh?
Bill, I mean, to be honest, I mean, I don't think dancing in this in the current state of affairs is a good idea anyway. But I mean, I wasn't a fan of that nonsense before all this anyway.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I would have to have quite a few White Claws to get on a dance floor. Just
Yeah, dude, it's not even that. It's just I'd rather just be home watching violence.
yeah, well, that's what I did last night. UFC 255. And cheers to my buddy John. We call him fucking Slash. So UFC 255, Jeff. UFC Apex. 2 flyweight title fights, main event, co-main event. I can't imagine the pay-per-view numbers are going to be good on this one.
At all.
I like to be positive about a lot of things, but I just can't see people shelling out money for these fights. And as much as I love Valentina Shevchenko, I think she's up there pound for pound, probably top 5 in my opinion, male or female. If we're talking about actual skills and how those skills, Shevchenko is definitely up there. But let's start with the main event. Deiveson Figueiredo getting the first over Alex Perez, and the only storyline here was that Alex Perez had the opportunity to be the first Dana White Contender Series alumni to win a UFC championship. Other than that, there's no bad blood. There's no build up. There's no like he's been murdering everybody in the division. Like this is, I guess, this guy. And by the way, he'll be the first Contender Series guy to win a championship. But Figueiredo making quick work of him, man, and good doing it. Finished that clean. And it looked like Perez was about to get out of it, but Figueiredo was clamped down, man. That was a high level choke. So give me your thoughts on this main event, and shout out to Queen B69.
Bill, I mean this main event kind of went, I think, the way everybody thought it would. Perez has been making a splash in the flyweight division, which is wonderful. But I don't know, man. I was a little upset with how things went. I didn't like the fence grabbing, Bill. I feel like that changed the fight, which I know is something so petty for me to say, and it's probably, people are probably saying, Figueiredo would have won anyway. And yes, that's possibly true, but I think that he would have been on the ground looking at the lights for a lot longer and would not have been able to slap on that guillotine had he not been grabbing the fence. I think that Perez would have had a chance to ground pound a little bit. I think that Perez would have approached the fight very differently had his fight plan gone to fruition with Figueiredo on his back. But yeah, dude, I was really upset with the fence grabs. I mean, like it was blatant. And we've talked about how it's a reflex, but the referee had to slap Figueiredo's hand off the cage, Bill. This is unacceptable. And then he went back and grabbed the fence again. I felt like a point should have been taken away. They should have started off again in the center of the octagon, or start with Figueiredo on his back with Perez on top of him.
I didn't have the sound on, Jeff, so maybe there was a language barrier. Did he slap his hand in Portuguese?
I don't know, Bill. Maybe
because I think it's a different kind of smack. I think they use the back of the hand or something. I'll admit to you, Jeff, I was pretty groggy at this point because it was pushing like 1 a.m. and I had a long day. I was out partying till nearly midnight the night before. I didn't catch the fence grabs. But yeah, that is unfortunate. But I don't think, too many people watch this fight. Like probably only a few more people than the actual number of ordered pay-per-views actually saw this fight. So I don't think it'll be a big deal. And with the magic of video editing, they can just show the highlight of Figueiredo getting the finish, which was a vicious one and a quick one. And it looks like he's ready for a quick turnaround. And from what I hear, the title fight between Aljamain Sterling and Peter Yan is, I believe that was supposed to happen December 12th or the following weekend, perhaps. For those of you who may be wondering, we lost Jeff temporarily. He had to jump off for a minute, but yeah, Figueiredo ready to get right back in there. I like that he looked good, and he showed up in shape, and he was able to easily. Obviously, that's a bit of a problem for him in the past. He looked awesome. John thinks that Jeff, it's a distinct possibility. It would not be the first time. It will not be the last time. So let's move on to this co-main event here. Valentina Shevchenko putting her flyweight title on the line against Jennifer Maia. Maia is another one who struggled with making the weight, and that kind of showed in this fight because I thought she looked good. I thought Maia won the second round, and then everything else was all Valentina. She was too quick. She just outclassed her everywhere. The only thing that surprised me was that Maia was able to win a round. Obviously, the odds maker saw it the same way because Valentina Shevchenko was like a minus 2,000 favorite. So obviously for good reason. And there's Jeff. Jeff, you made everything okay?
Bill, sorry, you cut out a little bit. I couldn't hear the last part.
I just said, is everything okay?
Yeah, so I'm babysitting. Well, my parents are watching my niece and nephews, and I ordered them a pizza, Bill. So I had to just answer the door really quick. But yeah, dude, I agree with you 100%. You're talking about Valentina Shevchenko, right?
Yeah, she proved that why she was a minus 2,000 favorite going into this fight. Just outside of the second round, it was just the bullet show.
Yeah, dude. And the way I was watching it, definitely the second round. We saw something out Jennifer Maia, and I was kind of excited. I was like, "Oh man, we might see Shevchenko have to fight her way back here." But then, the third and fourth rounds, and even the fifth round, it was more of the same. Although I did question, excuse me, why Shevchenko went for that takedown in the second round and the first round too, because she was finding a lot of success on the feet. I don't know if she was having a hard time and just wasn't comfortable being up against the cage, which Maia was doing, pretty solid job of when they were on the feet. But
Hmm.
once Shevchenko had top control, it was a whole different story, and it was just more of the same. Another night at the office after that second round.
Yeah, I don't know what the intention was there, but my guess would be that the intention was to tire Maia out, because she struggles to make 5 pounds. I'm sure Valentina is aware of this. She carries a little bit more muscle, so she just wanted to fatigue her. And Shevchenko knows that she can grapple for 5 rounds. Um, she knows that it, she knows that she can go the distance into those championship rounds. So, why not try and wear on Maia and get some blood in her arms and build up the lactic acid so she's not as dangerous on the feet. She is a black belt in Muay Thai, after all, Jeff. Um, is Jennifer Maia, and I've been doing Muay Thai for the better part of a decade. I've never met a black belt. I've never met anyone who wore a belt. Uh, they they like to wear short shorts, and I've never seen anyone use a belt to hold them up. But apparently, she's got a black belt in that. I guess every gym probably has their own ranking system. Um, so yeah, since that's Maia's strength, you probably wanted to get her on the ground and give her something else to think about. Uh, Also, because she's worried about getting taken down, then she can't let loose with all of her attacks. That'd be my best educated guess, I guess. So, any other thoughts on the fight itself?
No, Shevchenko did what Shevchenko does, living up to that Shevchenko name, Bill. Which I don't know if you know this, Bill, but Valentina Shevchenko is from Macedonia, but there is a Ukrainian soccer player named Andriy Shevchenko, who is one of the greatest strikers of all time, Bill. This guy is basically a deity to Ukrainians. So
Hmm.
I've always found it interesting that she has the same last name as him, and they're both at the top of their sport.
And they're both strikers.
Yes, yes, they are.
Yeah. So I guess we could mention that both of the Shevchenko sisters had victories on this card. We can jump around a little bit as we welcome our buddy Alex Au, who says Jeff the fucking ass.
Good to see you, Alex. Good to see you on the stream. Alex, I deactivated my Facebook, so if you're making fun of me, I wasn't able to see it.
Well, he could do it here publicly.
Yeah.
um. Anyway, so Valentina, I mean Antonina, looked good as well. Second round TKO over Ariane Lipski. Man, she just beat the brakes off of this girl. It was pretty vicious, and after her last loss, which I believe was the Katlyn Chookagian, where she got just out wrestled and mauled on the ground, she showcased some good wrestling herself. Impressive that she's able to progress like that in such a short amount of time, and at her age, I believe she's in her upper 30s. Yeah, 36 years old. So the fact that she was able to add some wrestling to her game was super impressive. Give me your thoughts on the other bullet sister here.
Yeah, man, I was definitely impressed with Antonina Shevchenko. Lipski is a good grappler herself. She's got some Muay Thai as well. So I thought Shevchenko would struggle a little bit more in this fight, honestly. I thought Lipski was going to be too much for her. But man, when your sister is one of the best fighters in the world, you gotta, absorb some of that. I'm sure they spar with each other. They have very similar training camps, I imagine, especially when they're both on the same card. Bill, I imagine that she, learned a lot from her sister, and added her own assets to Valentina's training camp. So, really excited, Bill. Really exciting to see both of them on the big stage here because I think they were the first sisters to ever compete and win on the same card.
Yeah, Yeah, I believe that's true. I mean, it's a rare thing for any siblings to compete on the same card. Even like the Diaz brothers, they don't like to fight on the same night because they want to be focused. One wants to be focused on the other. So if Nick is fighting, Nate wants to be there for him 100%. So it's a rare thing. The other thing that's rare is seeing Mike Perry good life decisions.
Oh man.
This guy, I I'm like I almost feel exhausted like bringing up his name because there's just so much, Jeff. I mean, this guy is like John Jones without the talent. It's like just one.
Oh man,
It's
Bill,
just
you should tweet that. Oh man,
it's just one disaster after another. Like I don't get me wrong. I like Mike Perry as a fighter. I enjoy watching him compete. Some of the antics outside the ring I can tolerate. You know, the funny interviews and somebody might die and you know, stuff like that. He's got some good sound bites, but the decisions this guy has made in his life and the things that he's done, like a lot of them are inexcusable. And now he's coming into his second fight without coaches, second fight in a row without coaches, and misses weight by nearly 6 pounds. You know, he's showing videos of himself on the internet eating burritos and cheeseburgers and stuff. And our buddy Mark Fellows wants to know how much a quarter pounder weighs, asking for a friend on their next weight cut. I guess he's friends with Mike Perry. It's just like, okay, I get that he may not need coaches because he knows how to fight. So fight night, he doesn't need a coach telling him, oh, when they throw the left, counter with the right, and tactical advice like that, because he says he's one of those guys who doesn't hear the coaches when he's in there and he just does his own thing. Fine, I can accept that. But this guy needs some kind of mentor in his life, some kind of coach. It doesn't have to be an MMA coach, some kind of life coach, somebody to help keep him disciplined, help keep him on track so that he can make weight, and just, you know, be safe in there. And I think the weight was an issue within the fight too, because he came out so fiercely in the first round. And my biggest problem with the fight itself was the fact that Tim Means was awarded a 30-27, because to me, Mike Perry clearly won the first round. He got Tim Means down. He had his back, damn near choked him out, landed some big shots on him as well. It was a clear win for Mike Perry in the first round. And then Tim Means, you know, just took over the rest of the fight. He showed that he's a true veteran and, you know, came back and just pieced Mike Perry up. That's just sticking that jab in his face all night, bloodying him up, landing some big shots, some step-in elbows that were really beautiful. I believe he had a takedown of his own. But yeah, give me your thoughts, Jeff. Let's get into Perry and Means a little deeper here.
Yeah, Bill. Aside from the malarkey, is Mike Perry's personal life. Bill, I don't think he needs a life coach. I think he needs a dad in his life. I mean, I think
something.
Bill, this is what happens when you grow up without, you know, without a dad consistently there. You know, even if he doesn't live with you, just, you know, make contact. You know, visit on weekends or something.
Yeah.
Bill, aside from that nonsense, Mike Perry looked fantastic in that first round, dude. I didn't think he could grapple like that. He looked like he was at Abu Dhabi Combat Club Worlds. That's what he the way he took Tim Means back, man, just so seamless, then just falls back. It was like hot butter melting on a steak. That's what it looked like. I'm also a little hungry. But Bill, you know, really impressed with him in the first round. But I think that was it. Like, that was his gas tank he unloaded on the grappling, because after that it turned into the Tim Means hour. Dude, Tim Means looking so good. I love the jab. the jab, I think, was his best tool, especially in that second and third round. You know,
Mhm.
at the end of this fight, Mike Perry went from winning the fight to looking like Jason Todd after a weekend hanging out with the Joker.
Yeah, and this is the problem. And when I say he's like John Jones without the talent, like obviously he's talented. He's in the UFC, but he does get by on more of a brawling style. And when he meets a technician in there, like a Max Griffin, for example, or Tim Means, that's when he has trouble. Guys who he can't lure into a brawl. Now, obviously, he does have some other skills. He can wrestle, he can grapple, but can he do those things at the highest level? I think he has the potential to, but it just seems like he's not disciplined enough outside the cage to be able to put all those things together. And it kind of worries me that this guy's going to be a father in the not so distant future. You know, he's shown that he has a hard time taking care of himself and maintaining relationships with coaches, with significant others. And I hope for his sake and for the sake of his unborn child, he's able to figure some of those things out before he does become a father, and just get his priorities in order. Especially because this lack of discipline is going to get him kicked out of the UFC. I mean, he is a draw, but if he's losing fights, they're going to stop turning a blind eye to all the dumb shit he's doing outside the cage. You know, knocking out old men and you know, allegedly beating up ex-wives. That I'm sure they're happy to ignore all that stuff when he's drawing and when he's winning. But if he's not making weight and he's not winning fights, you know, unfortunately, he's going to end up in bare knuckle boxing in the not so distant future, just so he can provide for his family. And I wouldn't wish that on anyone. Anyway, let's move on. Katlyn Chookagian looked good against Cynthia Calvillo. This was just a one-sided fight. You know, Calvillo had no answers for Chookagian in this fight, and she looked good. She bounced back to that in her last fight against Jessica Andrade. I was a little concerned about that. I said that last week on the show, but then I ended by saying, well, maybe she's fine, and it just knocked the wind out of her, and I guess that was the case. So blonde fighter looked good. Give me your thoughts, Jeff.
Yeah, Bill, I don't have too much to add. I mean, Chookagian did a great job bouncing back. You know, I was worried because she got finished with a really bad body shot a couple of weeks ago against what's her name, Jessica Andrade. You know, former strawweight champ. But Bill, Cynthia Calvillo, she just couldn't deal with the reach differential, man.
Mm-hmm.
You know, every time she got close, she was eating a jab or an elbow. So credit to Katlyn Chookagian using her reach and height. And as for Cynthia Calvillo, man, I don't know what you do with her at this point. She's not been. She's one of those fighters who, ever since they took out the IVs to rehydrate with the new USADA implementations, I feel like Cynthia Calvillo is one of those fighters who just has struggled ever since USADA stepped in.
Yeah, for sure. That's a great point. Yeah, I mean, this women's flyweight is very competitive. It's like aside from the champion, if you took the champ out, you know, it's like any one of these girls could be the girl on any given night. But Valentina Shevchenko has just distanced herself so far ahead of the pack that it almost becomes irrelevant. Anything else that happens in that division. That's kind of a sad thing, because I was personally advocating for them to add this 125-pound division for at least a year, maybe two. I don't know how, whatever, from the beginning of this podcast until it was done. I was advocating for that until it happened. But in any case, Paul Craig, dominant victory over Maurício Shogun, who this was the first time that Hua looked, you know, kind of how we expect him to look, like a guy who's 36 years old, but has been fighting for 47 years.
Oh man, that's what it feels like.
Yeah. Well, they say MMA math doesn't work, Jeff. So it's true. He's 30, or maybe he's 38. He's 38. He's been fighting 49 years. Somehow. Before life was given to him in his human form. In any case, Paul Craig, went out there like a man on fire. He had something to prove. Got a thumb in the ass from Shogun while he dragged him to the ground, and then made him pay for it. He's like, nobody sticks a finger in my ass. How dare you?
Yeah, I gave him the old oil check, man. That's a wrestling move whenever you need to get somebody off you.
Yeah, for sure. It makes him flinch for a second, so you just like create a little bit of space. If you want to be really aggressive, you slip a few more fingers in there. So whatever. Sometimes you get, you try to get like all four and pull the cheek in one direction, because like it's just like when you control it, when you have head control, where the head goes, the body moves. It's the same thing with the ass, Jeff. Once you get a good grip in there, you can kind of direct the rest of the body. It's just it's just basic body mechanics. In any case, Paul Craig did not want to leave it to the judges this time, because he felt like he didn't get a fair shake. Last time he fought Shogun, it was in Brazil, and he did. The fight was scored a draw. Should it have been? I don't remember. I think I remember Paul Craig clearly winning, and then they scored a draw. But who knows? Mark says he paid good money for that in Bangkok one time. I would think it would be a little cheaper there. But you just go to a wrestling practice and get it for free. Brandon Moreno was in a TKO over Brandon Royval. TKO with 1 second left to go in a round, and earned himself a title shot, it seems like. I think Figueiredo even said that Moreno should be next. And I got to say, Jeff, that's probably the first flyweight fight I would look forward to seeing in the history of the men's flyweight division. I think that's a really fun fight. You have two really aggressive guys with not a whole lot of holes in their game. I think that's a fun fight. Give me your thoughts.
Yeah, dude. I think that's a fun fight too. Brandon Moreno, he's aggressive. I love it. He's like a Tasmanian devil, man, when he's in there. But Bill, the finish to this fight was a little weird. Excuse me, because Brandon Royval, his shoulder dislocated out of the socket. And there was this weird position where Brandon Moreno and Royval, they were on. I forget if they were like in a leg lock position or if Moreno had Royval's back and then he was transitioning. And I guess Royval didn't put his arm the right way. Shoulder pops out of the socket, and you could see it in the replay. You could see the joint actually sticking out.
Mm-hmm.
And then his coach popped it back into place like right after the fight, and he was fine. But Bill, you hate seeing that, man. It sucked when it happened to Korean Zombie against Jose Aldo. But like, if one more second had been on the clock, if he had made it out of that round, they probably could have popped it back into place in between rounds. And who knows, maybe we have a different result. But still, exciting fight nonetheless. And very excited to see Brandon Moreno take on Deiveson Figueiredo here.
Yeah. With the shoulder thing, I don't think they would have let the fight continue. Like, if he was laying on the ground and his shoulder was popped out, the referee probably would have called the TKO before the coach even had a chance to pop it in. And then when you do pop it in, that is the right thing to do. You should do it as soon as possible, but you never know if you could pinch something on the way back in. Like, I've had that happen to me, because I've separated both of my shoulders and had to have them popped in. And the last time I did it was on my right shoulder, and when it went back in, it kind of pinched a nerve, and it wasn't right for, I'd say, 6 months or so, and it like right on the joint, and it popped out, and then he shifted the wrong way, and it pinched something in there, really hurt. So yeah, I don't think they would have let it continue if the coach popped it back in, because that's just a fight ending thing. It has to be, and hopefully it's Are we good? Can you hear me?
Bill, you completely cut out in that last part.
Okay.
I didn't have anything after nerve the pinched nerve.
Oh,
That
okay. So in any case, I was saying that I don't think that they would have allowed. So, and then after it happened to me with both of my shoulders, both of my labrums are stretched. So that's why I have like pretty flexible shoulders, and it's tough to get me with shoulder locks like Kimura's and things like that.
Yeah, but I can confirm.
But it's only going one way. Like I can only bend it this way. Like going the other way, it's not as flexible. Any case, Joaquin Buckley showing that his last win wasn't a fluke. I can't for the life of me figure out why Joaquin Buckley was on the prelims, Jeff. In his last fight, it was the most tweeted, the most watched UFC clip. I think they said ever, like millions upon millions of views. My grandmother saw this knockout, Jeff. Like, have all this promo reel. I mean, try and get people to buy the pay-per-view, but then like have him on the pay-per-view. Like, why are you having him on the prelims? It made no sense to me. In any case, Buckley's second round KO over the previously undefeated Jordan Wright, who looked bigger than Buckley in there and had some. But Buckley's just a beast, man.
Bill, you still there?
I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yeah, now I can. You're cutting out a lot for some reason. I
Oh,
wonder if it's Hurricane Ada, but Bill, Joaquin Buckley looked great, and I liked what he was saying in the build up to this one. He was saying that he didn't want to just rely on that highlight. He wanted to add something else this go around too. And hey, he added another really nice knockout, dude. Jordan Wright, very correctly, like you said, Bill, looked like he was a whole weight class above Joaquin Buckley. But man, at the end of that first round, Joaquin Buckley with those hooking shots, it looked like if the round had gone 2 more seconds, Jordan Wright would have been out of the fight. And then in that second round, as soon as the fight started, he was still groggy, still hadn't recovered, and got put away pretty quick, man. Good performance from Joaquin Buckley. Take nothing away from Jordan Wright. He looked pretty solid in there too, but I just don't think that too many people in the middleweight division are going to have an answer to Buckley's power, unless I think he might run into some issues with some of the wrestlers. But I'm not focused on that right now. Right now, I'm just having a good time watching this guy go to work, man.
yeah. Buckley and Yoel Romero would be such an awesome fight. Just two like absolute freaks with superhuman striking abilities. I don't see that fight ever coming together, but that's something I would like to see.
Yeah, for sure.
Let's kind of breeze over the rest of this. I think we're having a little bit of could be from the power outage I had last night. Wi-Fi maybe still a little off. Nicolas Dalby getting a controversial decision win over Daniel Rodrigues. A lot of people saw the fight going Rodrigues' way. Alan Jouban getting the win over Jared Gooden. and Kyle Dawkins, unanimous decision over Dustin Stoltzfus. And then the fight of the night for me was Sasha Palatnikov and Louis Koski, the first fight of the night. But tell me what sticks out to you.
Oh man, definitely the Kyle Dawkins versus Dustin Stoltzfus fight. That was really good. There was some good grappling in there. Pretty back and forth in the first couple of rounds, but then Stoltzfus just ran out of gas. But I really enjoyed that welterweight fight too, man. Sasha Palatnikov really coming back against Louis Koshi here. Dude, that was super competitive. It was really back and forth, and I felt like Palatnikov needed the finish to win that fight, and he got it in the third round. So definitely go back and watch those two. Really exciting way to start the entire card.
Yeah, for sure. And just a couple of other things. The Jouban fight, somebody on Twitter, I wish I wrote down who said it because I want to get it, but because the guy could be a model or something, but he chooses to be a professional cage fighter. And then at the end of the fight, he had a guillotine locked in, and he made the number one mistake I see MMA fighters make with the guillotine, where he was leaning back instead of doing what Deiveson Figueiredo did, which is crunch down. And that's how you guillotine. And you see this time after time. People think that if you extend your back, it puts more pressure, but what you really have to do is crunch down. And I'll demonstrate for the people watching on video, because when you crunch down, it creates less space in between your arms, and when you extend your back, it creates more space. So you're actually helping your opponent out by stretching your back. And Jouban's like leaning back and pulling, working against himself. Where if he had crunched down, I thought he was going to finish it though when he rolled on top. It looked like he tightened it up there, but then the time ran out. So exciting finish. That was a good fight. But the so good because Palatnikov almost got finished in that first round, and he came back. It was back and forth. And they thought Palatnikov was just a striker going. Some good grappling exchanges. I really enjoyed that fight. So yeah, decent card overall. But if this was a fight night card, I'd be happy with it. Any other thoughts on UFC 255 before we move on, Jeff?
Yeah, Bill, I thought this card top to bottom was great. I wasn't really excited heading into it for the main event, but overall, really exciting card. I thought the UFC did a great job with this. Like, if we got some more pay-per-views like this with like a better main event that the fans could get excited for, I think we're in good shape here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure. And then we have UFC on ESPN 18 coming up on Saturday, the Saturday after Thanksgiving. So, so why not look at some guys that are like close to 300 pounds, duking it out, because it feels a little bit more relatable after all that pie and turkey and stuff. So we got Curtis Blades and Derek Lewis, and this is a very interesting fight to me, Jeff. If this fight were to happen like 2 years ago, I would probably not give Derek Lewis much of a chance in this fight. I would think that Curtis Blades would take him down, hold him down, and punish him on the ground. He couldn't hold him down, and we know that he's dangerous bell to bell. So give me your thoughts on this main event, Jeff.
Yeah, Bill, I'm really excited for this one, man. Very interesting matchup, and I agree with you, Bill. I feel like Derek Lewis has definitely added to his arsenal here. I don't think it's going to be as easy for Curtis Blades to take him down. And Bill, if I'm not mistaken, did they fight each other before? I felt like they fought each other when George St. Pierre fought Michael Bisping.
I can look that up real quick.
I remember Curtis Blades was on that card. He was in early on the card, early on the main card. I can't remember who he fought. It might have been Curtis Blades. I'm sorry, it might have been Derek Lewis. Might be mistaken, but Bill, super excited for this one. I think this could help shape out the top of the heavyweight division here. I mean, we know that it's basically at this point kind of mathematical that Francis Ngannou is going to fight Stipe again, but we got to start looking after that too. And I think the winner of this one could really make a statement and really state their case for a shot at the winner of Stipe and Francis Ngannou.
Yeah, for sure. As long as John Jones doesn't insert himself into that picture, which I don't know what's going on there, because it looks like the Stipe and Ngannou fight might not even happen until like March or something like that. So they may have like an interim title fight. So maybe it'll be like the winner of this against John Jones for an interim title. But then why would you have an interim title when they're going to have the actual championship fight? Then you'll have two titles out there for the duration of 3 fights total. I don't know what's going to happen, Jeff. I do know that the co-main event on Saturday is Anthony Smith and Devin Clark. This is a really fun fight that I feel like a lot of people are not talking about. Two really capable strikers. Devin Clark, super impressive, man. He's got crazy power. This is a big step up in competition for him, though. Fighting a guy who's fought for the title, who's fought main events, who's been in big fights, who has a ton of experience. And Devin Clark is coming off of the win against Alonzo Menafield in his last fight. He has shown that he struggles a little bit with the grappling. He's been submitted a few times, and Anthony Smith is a legit black belt. So we're going to see. This is going to be the test if Devin Clark is, upper echelon talent here. It's definitely a big bump in competition. I thought he looked his best in the fight against Alonzo Menafield because he came in with a great game plan and stuck to it. And that's what I would like to see as opposed to like a quick knockout or something like that. I feel like a performance like that is much more telling to whether or not a guy is going to be successful. So give me your thoughts on the co-main event here, Jeff.
Yeah, dude, the co-main event looks really fun as well. Anthony Smith always a game opponent. Devin Clark too could have a chance to make his name off Anthony Smith here, a former title contender. Yeah, dude. So I'm really excited for the main event and the co-main event. But Bill, looking up and down this card, I see some fights that are whetting my palate here. I like that Spike Carlisle is opening the card. I would like to see him a little bit higher on the prelims, but I think that's a great way to open the card. Remember, he fought our boy Billy Q a couple of months back. So, a very exciting fighter, very game opponent. Who else do we have on here? We have Ashley Evans Smith. She's good. Um, Rachel Ostovich, who we have not seen in quite some time, returning to the octagon. So that should be an exciting fight against Gina Mazzani. So that really, really exciting for this women's flyweight division. Although I don't know if people are lining up to get a title shot here. But Bill, I think this card's looking really solid for next week.
Yeah. I don't know what happened with your audio, Jeff, but you sound like Peter Frampton right now, where he has that like that I forget what song it even is, where he has that thing that he talks into while he plays. Peter Frampton is. Uh, yeah.
Bill, I lost you. Are you still on?
All right. Can you hear me, Jeff?
Yeah, Bill, I totally lost you.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, now I can hear you.
Oh, okay. Sorry, I had to refresh. Where was I? What was the last thing I said?
Well, I had just talked about some of the fights that I was excited for, and then you told me I sounded like Peter Hampton or Frampton.
Peter Frampton, Jeff.
Yeah, I don't know who that is, but that's where I lost you.
Oh, maybe it wasn't your audio. Maybe it was my internet connection. Anyway, Sean Woodson and Jonathan Pierce should be a really fun fight. The only thing about Pierce is he hasn't fought since like a year ago, and it was a loss to Joe Lozon. Anyway, yeah, I'd say my sleeper pick is Bill Algeo and Spike Carlisle. That's just two guys that are like both really well-rounded, both like to scramble, both fight at a high pace, and both take a lot of risks. So those are always fun guys to watch. And like you mentioned, Spike fought our boy Billy Quarantillo, who's fighting in a few weeks, December 12th card. Yeah. So this is a fun little card. And yeah, all right. Apologies to everybody on the live broadcast here for the technical difficulties. Those of you listening on audio probably won't even know anything went wrong because I'll just cut out the dead air. But yeah, anything else on this card, Jeff?
I think we covered it. I think this is just one that you're going to have to watch, but it looks like there's going to be a lot of dark horses on this one, man. I'm excited for this card, though.
Yeah, I am too. I always get more excited about it. Like I first look at it, I'm like, all right, but then I start talking about the matchups, and I like actually hype myself up for it. All right, well, if you guys enjoyed the show and you made it this far, so I guess you did enjoy it, unless you just want to listen to the whole hour to make fun of us. But if you do enjoy the show, you can get yourselves an MMA on the Rocks t-shirt or hoodie from our friends at Team Reaper. Reaper1.co. I'll put the link in the show notes so you guys can grab one of those or grab one as a gift for somebody. The holidays are coming up. Make their day by letting them know that you think they're over the top and under the influence, or both. So there's that. If you guys want to get a hold of Jeff, you can do so at animal_Wilson, Twitter and Instagram. You guys know how to get a hold of me. It's at MMA on the Rocks, pretty much everywhere on the internet. I'm not hard to track down. Especially if you lure me out with booze, which, by the way, for those of you wondering, I was drinking some Old Tub tonight, Jeff, or this afternoon. Old Tub is made by Jim Beam. This is actually like the original recipe that the Beam family used before they created Jim Beam. It's a bottled and bond bourbon. They did a special release of the original recipe. It's like basically unfiltered, very raw, 100 proof bourbon that is delicious and very smooth. So if you can find yourself a bottle of this, do pick it up, especially because a bottle of this only goes for like $20. So it's a really good special release. Bottled in bond, which means it's aged a minimum of 4 years. That's actually a federal law. And it has to be bottled at 100 proof. And that's it. That's all we got. So until next time, cheers, everybody. Goodbye.